Continue episode of Nile Magazine. In today's episode, we'll be bringing to you a lot of interesting segments, so stay with us. Our first segment is Story of the Week, and in it I'll be interviewing diver Mr. Wael Omar. It will be followed by the Eye of Horus, and in it we will be looking at some of the artifacts of the Old Kingdom. On the science page, Dr. Peter Billen will talk to us about his latest research in the field of photodynamic and nanomedicine for health sciences. Finally, in our culture review, we will be enjoying together the modern dance performance Women from Egypt. Now it's time for Story of the Week. It's time to meet an Egyptian diver who has beaten the Middle Eastern record in diving. It's time to meet Egyptian diver Mr. Wael Omar. Diver Mr. Wael Omar, welcome with us in today's Story of the Week. Well, I'd like first to start by asking you about your diving career. You told me earlier that you started your diving career in 1998.
Exactly.
What made you decide to become a diver?
Actually, I love the water since I was child. With the childhood, I always jumped to the water for swimming. I was playing in Ahli Club. Then I became as a diver in 1998, as I told you before. Then it's something which has come as my hobby. It's not as a business since the beginning. I just take it as diving as my hobby. Then I became as a professional diver when I started in 1998. Then I take as the first certification, which was open water diver. It was in Dahab. Then I become as a dive master. It was with the French instructor. Then I changed the career from the dive master to I become an instructor. Then I changed all the career to become as a technical training instructor, which was in 2001, and I took the official certification from TDI organization.
Well, you told us also before the interview that there are different types of dives.
Exactly.
So would you talk to us a bit about the different types of dives?
Okay, there is 3 types of dives. Actually, the first one, which is called like free dives. 2 is like a commercial dive, is something different, and scuba diving. Scuba diving is also something part of the diving of the scuba diving. The scuba diving is like, first of all, it's like a normal air, which is like recreation. Then is something is called nitrox courses. Then trimix. The trimix, which is are you coming for the deep dive. Nitrox, it's something different, which is been longer time, but in the same depth as recreation dive. The normal air, which is 21% oxygen and 79% nitrogen.
Well, for the diving records, actually you have 2 or more diving records at the Underwater Federation?
Yes.
Yes. Would you talk to us about these records, please?
Okay. When I started my career in 2000, I actually started with this in 1996, which I was a dive master. It was a dive master. I did this kind of dive as a good dive, but it was wrong, it's not legal, it's a lot of things. Then my instructors, which is Omar, told me I must have to be like an official to try for the deep dive and all this kind of stuff. In this time, I went to South Africa to make my certifications, and I became as a TDI. Then when I came back to that, I did the first record was 200 meter depth. Then I became as 216 meter depth, and it was a organization by the Under the Water Egyptian Diving Federation, by TDI.
Yes. I'd like to ask you about diving and the marine life when you're diving. Would it differ from one place to another?
Actually, it's only you can say it's the same thing between the marine in the depths in the shallow water. Each meters is each type of depths is something different. You can see something different. Like for example, if you are going to the blue hole, you can see something which is amazing. That is the best depth which I did it in my life. Canyons is something different. Each kind of depth size is something different for the marine life. For example, if you are going to Sharm el-Sheikh, it's something different for the marine life because the coral is still like there, as you see every day, every week, each dive we are going. Each kind of dive is something different, as coral reef, as fish, as all this kind of stuff.
What about your workshops, or not workshops, but training? Because I think you have traveled to many training sessions for diving abroad. Where was it different than diving in Egypt?
Actually, Egypt is something different for abroad. I've been diving in Croatia, I've been diving in Maldives, in Thailand, in South Africa, in Australia, and some different kind of places. But for me, the diving in Egypt is something amazing, which I never ever forget in my life. There is something of the small islands which I love to dive there anymore. That's like, for example, like Maldives Island, I was diving in Bora Bora. It's one of the amazing dives I did in my life. Something is different. But here in Egypt, something different. Like the coral is familiar to me. When I dive in Egypt, I feel like safe. I feel like something different for the corals, for the fish, like familiar with the fish. Like for example, let's say if you are going for like 50-meter depth or 30-meter depth, it's something like different than 100-meter depth. There is something different in each kind of dive, or each where you are diving is something that you took the experience from abroad, from Egypt, is something different for all this kind of stuff.
Yes. What about the techniques used? Like, would it differ if you're gonna dive, for example, like you said that you dived for 200 meters, then 219. Actually, you're attempting to dive for more than 300. Would the technique of diving differ as the meters increase?
Exactly.
The depth?
Exactly. When you are going for a deep dive, it's something different. As I told you that we use something different, which is gas. The gas is different between the radiation air for the nitrox and trimix. Trimix is three types of gas which you are mixed together, which is helium, oxygen, and nitrogen. It depends on the depth you are doing, gassing, or you are mixing your gas. When you are going, to be honest with you, I'm not the person who is mixing the gas. There is someone who is a specialist for this, which is called gas blender. Someone is specialist for this, which are mixing the gas for me. But there is this kind of dive who are planning to go for 375 meters. There is a specialist people, a specialist assistant. I have two kind of doctors, which is like decompression doctors. I have a specialist for the fitness. I have a specialist for gas blender, which is like a gas blender. I have 25 divers who assisting me. This kind of dive is you need some more training as physiology, and all this kind of stuff. You need the training of the depths, which are each time is different than. Like for example, you are going there for 140 meters, you start eating, you start changing the gas and all this kind of stuff. And I cannot do all this kind of stuff, especially if I use 118 tanks. The first dive when we are going for 370 meter depths. Then we will see what is the gas and effect and all this kind of stuff, because we are normal, we are not used to be using this kind of gas, which is like helium. This kind of helium, if we are using under the water, is something different under the surface.
What about your most recent or next project and attempt, which is on the 22nd of February, I think it will be taking place, your attempt to break the Guinness record in diving, and I think you're attempting to dive at depths of 375 meters for 22 hours, while that will be breaking the record of the previous attempts by other divers. So would you talk to us about that attempt?
First of all, I would like from here to thank Ahmed Gaba, which is a very good close friend of mine. He's a very good diver. He's the record of the world right now. He's been done 332.25 meter depths, and it was 13 hours 50 minutes.
Yes.
I'm going to do the record is not Ahmed record, but I'm going to continue what Ahmed tried to do. I'm going for 375 meters. Actually, I was bound between 22 and 10 minutes under the water. I mean hours. The record of the world. Actually, first of all, we've been contacted with Janice, we've been sending an application and they accepted. Now we are during the train between the chambers, between the technical staff, between the all my crew and all this kind of stuff and gas blender. We're doing hard with this, and on 23rd of February we'll be trying to beat the record, as you said.
Well, now, when you were going, you mentioned before the interview as we were talking that actually you will be descending in around 19 minutes. Is
Yes.
that true? Would you talk to us about the details of that?
Okay, when you start to go for the water for this kind of depth, so I need 19 minutes to go down to reach this bottom if I will be doing this kind of dive. Then when I'm going up, I'm going from the beginning to the bottom, it will be by myself. Then I'll be going up till 140 meters with 62 minutes. Then with the first diver will meet me in the 140 meter depth, I will change the first 5 tanks because the old system I will start with the 9 tanks, 4 on the back side and 5 holding up in the front. Then I will be changing tanks with this guy and give it to me with the first assistant, give me the new tanks, and we'll start contact with the support upstairs with the surface. Then we have already discussed about this and I have been the plan about that. So the first diver will be contact with the people in the surface, tell them what about my conditions, how I am, all this kind of stuff, then if I did the record or not, all this kind of stuff. Then from 140 meters we'll give me the other divers, 130 meters, each 10 meters I will have another divers till I go to the 27 meter depth.
Now, you mentioned earlier that actually computers and sonars they can go as far as certain depths, and actually you will be going deeper than that.
Exactly.
So how would they be able to detect that you're really down there 375 meters?
Okay, as I told you before, the record of the world is 332 meter depths. To be honest, 332.25. And all the computers, whatever is the production until now, it's for 298 meter depths. So I will bring up my computers to the line, then I will be going down, and the new record, to beat the record, I will have it for 335 meter depths. This is like a sign stamped by Jonas and sign it. Each 5 meters I have another record. So each one I take it, that will be the maximum depths I get it up, and I will be inflated and going to the surface. That's the record I did it.
Actually, you mentioned earlier, and correct me if I'm wrong, that what you do is that there is a long rope like 400 meters depth, and it has like this heavy weight so that it has to stay straight.
Exactly.
And there are certain sensors to make sure that people don't cheat, that it stays the way it is, and then the cords to make sure that actually the diver is not cheating. Is that true? Did I understand correctly?
So you understand correctly, but this video is not joking or not kind of game. That's if you are going for this kind of genres and to beat the record of the world is something different. For example,